The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees and his fast and Jews did not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. And there are many other things that they have traditionally observed. The purification of cups and chalks, cattle and bears. So the Pharisees and scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well, did Isaiah prophesy about you, hypocrites, as is written, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts.'" So they regard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition. He summoned the crowds again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil talks, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
My dear brothers and sisters, today, the 22nd Sunday of Ordinary Time, we rejoice in the law of God, which is pure religion. This law is fulfilled in the sacrament of love and dwells only in a pure and transformed heart. Hence, today's readings lead us to reflect on the best way to obey it for the sake of our own salvation. In the first reading, Moses reminded his people of the commandment of God and urged them to be steadfast to it in order to be successful in life. Importantly, he wanted them to not add or remove from it. In the second reading, the Apostle James admonished, accept, and submit to the word which has been planted in us. We must do what the word tells us. Of course, the best way to do this is to let our Christianity find its presence in the way we live, love, and treat one another. The Gospel of St. Mark tells us about the complaint of the Pharisees and some scribes that the followers of Jesus were not observing the proper Jewish laws when they did not wash their hands before eating. Jesus shows himself to be impatient with this understanding of faith. He first criticized the Pharisees for putting human tradition above God's law. Here, Jesus is referring to the traditions of the elders, the teacher of Pharisees, which extended the ritual purity laws of temple worship to everyday Jewish life. Jesus criticized the Pharisees for making this tradition equal to and as binding as the law of Moses. Jesus is so clear in his teachings. He tells that he does not come to destroy the law and the prophets, but to fulfill them. Jesus had no problem with the person who washes his hands and still serves the poor and the needy. The problem is with us, who make sure to wash our hands but never pay attention to the poor and the needy in our midst. If we go to church regularly but do not care about the poor and the needy, our church going is in vain. We should both be going to church and serving the poor and the needy. My dear brothers and sisters, the best way to be faithful to God's command is to allow our hearts to be transformed by it. So, rather than pay excessive attention to the letters of the law and physical purity, we must heed the St. Paul's advice. Let your hearts be inwardly transformed, so that you will know the will of God. God's will is His love. He must motivate us to love others and to avoid evil. It must evoke true repentance and a sincere will to forgive others. It must keep us firm in faith. Above all, it must move us to pursue only what is good, just, noble, and holy. Amen.